Okay, our final unit, it's about cosine law. Now before, let's just talk about SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. If we had information about a right-angled triangle, and we knew an angle, and we knew an opposite, we knew two sides, we had two sides, and we had an adjacent or an opposite, or the hypotenuse. If we had any two, we could find the angle. Or if we had an angle in any one, we could find any of the other sides. Okay, that's when it was a right angle triangle. Then we introduced you, we said, hey, it doesn't have to be a right angle triangle. It could be any kind of triangle, and it doesn't have to have a 90-degree angle. As long as we had the ratio, we had one angle and another side. Then if we had another angle, B, we could find the side. Or if we had the side, we could find the angle, C. Right? But we needed that ratio between one side and an angle. Sine A over A equals to sine B over B. We just needed one of these. We needed one of these to be able to equate the other, to use sine law. And we had C, sine of C over C. We needed one of these ratios to be able to find, and another side or angle to find, to use sine law. Now that brings us to cosine law. What if I don't have that? Well, cosine law, it can be any angle, but what it states is if I have all three sides, if I have A, B, and C, I can find any one of these angles using cosine law. Also, if I have two sides, A, B, and C, I can find the opposite side. And that's basically the basis of cosine law. So we can solve triangles that are not right angled and cannot be solved using sine law. Here we use cosine law. So we have a triangle. If two sides and a contained angle are known, we can determine the third side by using the formula. So what does that mean? If two sides and the contained angle, that's this, and this. That's one example of two sides and a contained angle. Here's another example. This two sides and the contained angle, and the angle between the two sides. Our next example is, of course, A and CB. See these two sides? C and B, they contain the angle A. Then we can determine the third side by using our formula. And what's this formula? Here it is right here. And we'll learn to use it very well. Don't even worry about memorizing for now. Just write it down and keep it handy. So this side, square it, is equal to these two sides, square and add them, minus 2 times AB. So, 2 times A and B times cos of C. All right, here's an example. Determine the missing values. Okay, indicated. So let's find D. We have 15, we have one side, the other side, and the contained angle. So we can use our formula. In this case, C is equal to D. Our contained angle is C right here. A is equal to one side, it doesn't really matter. B is equal to the other side. Doesn't matter which is which. So D squared, that comes from C. A is equal to 15, B is equal to 18, minus 2AB, that comes from there, and cos of the contained angle, which is 48. That's A, that's B. What's 15 squared? 225. Let's clear our markings. 15 squared becomes 225. 18 squared becomes 324. 2 times 15 is 30, times 18 is 540. And then cos of 48 is that. When we add up these values and subtract, we get 188 d squared. Take the square root. Obviously, we get positive and negative, but we're only interested in our positive value. So d equals 13.7. All right, example 2. We're looking for angle B. That's angle B right there, this angle. Now we have 3 sides. We have A, B, and C. Okay, and we're trying to find this angle. Now, let's look at our equation. When we take C, does it matter what A, B, and C is? Yes. C here corresponds to this angle that we take cos C of. So right here, that's the angle we're looking for. So that means C will correspond to the opposite side. Let's try it out. So C will equal to 13.1. And then A and B really doesn't matter what. We could choose one or the other. Doesn't even matter. And of course, we have cos of B, our opposite side here, to this value that we called. So we're using A, B, and C, which kind of could be confusing. But try and follow along. Okay, so we have C squared. A is 11.6, as you can see here. And then we have 9.5 equals B. And then cos of C, well, we assign B the angle of C. All right, so I know that's kind of confusing, but let's just move along. 13.1 square, 11.6 square, 9.5 square, 2 times 9.5 times 11.6, and then we have cos of B. Our next step, well, we're just moving everything. Let's clear everything first. We're just moving this to that side, this to that side. That's why you have a negative and a negative. And we just keep this on this side of the equation. Our next step, we just solve this. That becomes 53.2. By the way, we have negative on both sides of the equation. Make them positive. Or keep them negative and divide them later on. Divide both sides by 220. 220.4, 220.4. Cos of B equals that. Let's clear markings. Now this is assuming we didn't get rid of the negatives. What's 53.2 divided by 220? Well, the answer is 0.24. Now, how do we find this angle? Well, we take the inverse cos of 0.24. What do we end up getting? B equals to 76. So that equals 76 degrees. And we solved it. A radar station in Gander, Newfoundland is tracking 2 ships in the North Atlantic. Ship A is 42 kilometers from the radar station, while Ship B is 63 kilometers from the radar station. If the angle between the 2 ships is 82 degrees, how far apart are they? So let's draw that. Try and draw it on your own before we draw it. But anyway, here it is. So what do we have? We have a side, 2 sides, and the contained angle. We're trying to find the opposite side. How do we do that? Use our formula. Because we have 2 sides in the contained angle, we can find the opposite side. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, represent the distance between ship A and ship B. That's C right there. We know what A is. It could be 42 or 63. And B is the other side. And angle C is 82 degrees. All right, substitute all our values in here. A is 63. A is 63. B is 42. Here it's 42. Cos of 82, we just start solving. 42 squared is 1764. 2 times 63 times 42 is 5292. And cos of 82 is 0.3 0.139. Our next step, do that math. It becomes 736. And now we add and subtract all our values. We get about 5,000. Almost 5,000. Take the square root of both sides. We end up getting C equals approximately 70 kilometers. So the distance between, therefore, there is 70 kilometers between ship A and ship B. And that's the end of cosine law. Enjoy your homework.